Welcome to the Casual and the Cinephile.
Mm-hmm.
Now, supposedly, this is the Cinephile. Hinkle William J. Fernandez III. I'm questioning his status as a cinephile. I may actually be it with the thought process I have, and there's a chance that neither one of us may be it at all. We might both be casuals. But I'm Justin. Today we'll be talking about a Christopher Nolan film by the name of Dunkirk. What background information do you have on the film for us?
Well, Dunkirk, obviously it's been nominated for Best Picture, Director, Sound, and Score. I don't know if I'm missing anything else. But overall, the film has had a mixed reception ever since it first came out. It's had a mixed reception ever since. So that's just...
Do you have any
really
behind the scenes knowledge about the directing or the production?
Well, we should all know by now that everything that Christopher Nolan does is all practical.
Of course.
Yeah, so a lot of practical effects, and
he really shot some of those guys. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I can imagine too. But those are,
those
were fake though.
Muzzle flashes and all that, and
Yeah.
blanks.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, precisely. It's interesting. It's interesting how he made the movie itself. So yeah.
So what year did it come out? What year did it come out?
It came out in 2017. Yeah.
I remember wanting to go see it, and I didn't see it until maybe like a year or two ago.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't go to IMAX?
No. I don't know.
Hell, I can imagine.
I don't remember what was out at the time.
Well, Blade Runner 2049.
I didn't see that.
John Wick Chapter 2.
I didn't see that.
Jesus Christ, dude.
I'm saying in theaters, I didn't see that. No.
Let me think. Well, I don't know if you saw The Shape of Water.
No.
Damn, you suck.
I was probably broke at the time. What year was it? 2017?
Yeah.
I was in high school.
Yeah, that was.
Well, depending, I graduated at that point, so it was just like I was out of high school, in high school. So, yeah, I was broke. So I wasn't going to see none of those fucking films.
All right, let's go.
What Marvel film came out that year?
Oh, shit. Oh, Thor Ragnarok.
I ain't go see that in theaters. Damn sure I ain't see that. All right. I want to hear your argument.
All right.
About the film. Let's hear it. He has it written down, folks.
Let's get this shit over
with. He has the whole thing written down. He's very passionate about this film.
All right.
He's not happy about how I feel about it.
I agree to disagree.
Let's see what you have.
All right, Mr. Casual. All right. To me, Dunkirk is one of the best war movies I've ever seen. And the way Christopher Nolan crafted something truly unique by not making it like any other war films, like Saving Private Ryan, Hacksaw Ridge, Apocalypse Now, Full Metal Jacket, hell, even even the original All Quiet on the Western Front, which dehumanizes war. But to me, those films focus on characters and their emotional journeys, while making us sympathize with them. But Dunkirk is different, and that's what I love about it. Like, Nolan stated that he didn't want to focus on individual characters or their backstories. Instead, he designed Dunkirk like a roller coaster simulator, like something out of Universal. You know what I mean, right? Yeah. So, like, we're there for the experience, not the characters. But the camera work, the sound, the pacing, they're all there to make us feel. And to me, they make us feel flustered and petrified in a way.
Why flustered?
Well, the tension and we need to get the fuck out. We want to go home. That's the tension that I had with the film.
But why flustered is what I'm curious. Why that?
I thought it was anxious. Doesn't it mean anxious?
No.
Yeah.
That's what I just wanted to see where you were going.
Oh, okay.
Where you were going with it.
Yeah. And yeah, so to put us right in the middle of the chaos and terror of the evacuation. And in a way, I do get why Dunkirk got mixed reactions. That's for one. And the way Nolan structured the timeline with the three overlapping sequences, the mole, the sea, and the air. if I'm not mistaken. Like, it wasn't traditional, but to me, that's what makes it so intuitive and brilliant
Mm.
to me. And the aviation sequences, especially, are breathtaking. And each part of the film, the mold, the sea, and the air, takes place in its own time frame, and they all converge in a way that heightens the tension and and immerses us in the events.
Mm.
Honestly, the more I hear Dunkirk, the more I hear negative criticisms for Dunkirk, the more it fuels my obsession with it. The film, to me, it's not just a war film. It's an experience. That's all I gotta say. And I love every minute of it. Like, I respect most people's opinion, and I see why they might not connect with it in the same way. But for me, that's what makes Dunkirk a standout among other war films. Like, it's like a cinematic experience like no other. Every time I watch it, that's all I gotta say, baby.
You said at one point,
I
we're
get
there for the experience,
yes,
not for the characters.
yes. That was his intention.
Now,
Like,
is that a direct quote from him?
yes.
Where he said, "We are here for the experience, not the characters."
He said he wants us, the audience, to feel the experience. That's what he wanted. That's what he said, but I use my own words.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean. You know
No,
what I'm
not,
trying to do.
that's why I'm trying to unravel it to make sure I'm on the right
Yeah.
for when I address everything here,
Mhm.
because I vehemently disagree
I know.
with the film, with everything you just said,
Like,
with the exception of the aerial sequences with
really.
the planes. I thought that was spectacular. That might have been just because of Tom Hardy. I'm such a fan of Tom Hardy.
Okay, that's
He's great.
understandable.
I mean, when his plane went down at the end and he landed on the beach and it was the Nazis there waiting for him,
Mhm.
it's like,
Yeah.
that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Everything else, wasting my time.
Why was it a waste of your time, Mr. J?
Because there was nothing for me. I didn't feel no tension. I didn't feel anything of the sort. I felt like the lack, and I'm not, forget the characters for a second. You didn't have to make it a character-driven narrative to make it a war film, right? Like, I remember playing Battlefield 1 for the first time, and the little intro mission to the game throws you into the World War One battlefield. You're just playing a random character, and you're fighting on the front until you get overwhelmed and you die. And the camera goes up, you see the battlefield, and it puts you in another character on that same battlefield fighting for that same military, getting gunned down. And then you end up in the tank, and the tank is blown up. And it just switches your perception of the battlefield to help you understand, like, you were going to die. This is World War One. It didn't matter if you were in a tank, you weren't safe. It didn't matter if you were in the ground. It didn't matter if you were in the trenches. You were not safe in World War One. Death was inevitable. Death was coming for you.
Mm-hmm.
You made it out. You make it out of war through sheer luck, oftentimes. And the weight of that was there. There wasn't, but this wasn't a narrative-driven character. None of these were. They were just us getting thrown in to this scenario of just war and bloodshed and death. I get Dunkirk, and there's nothing. I understand that they're trying to escape, but there's no weight, in my opinion, behind it. I get it, the Nazis are coming, but
the explosions.
There's no, for me, there wasn't any tension. I think it might have been like a dialogue playing a part in that.
That would defeat the purpose that Nolan was aiming for.
And that's his problem. Another problem you have to remedy as a creator. I appreciate that he tried something new.
But he knew from the get-go.
I appreciate that he tried to go in a different direction. But I think he completely missed the mark. As someone who loves history as much as I do, I literally have folders and folders worth of information of historical documentation because I love history. Especially the World War I and World War II era of history, what led to those wars, the different opinions, the different sides of the war, the opinions of even Nazi soldiers who literally sat there and they're like, yo, we thought this was the good side. We didn't think we were bad guys. Like, getting the different perspectives of how D-Day went is one thing that we always get to see how the Allies' perception of D-Day was. What about the Nazis? Getting that side of the conversation is so interesting as to why D-Day worked. Because the Nazis are fucking idiots. Good thing. right? Oftentimes your hubris will always be your biggest crutch. And guess what? On Dunkirk, it was the hubris of the Nazis that led to Dunkirk in the first place.
Yeah.
Because no one's, I don't know, I don't know to this day to justify. They did a full blitzkrieg. They swept everything. They conquered it all, and they're right here. Dunkirk is here.
Yeah.
We're at the town. We are at the town. The Nazis are at the town. The Allies are right here at the beachhead.
Mm.
And the Nazis waited.
Mm.
I don't get it. The Nazis had to win. Had they invaded all those troops, the entire British military would have been done.
Mm.
History would be completely different right now. Their hubris of thinking we're gonna get them, it don't matter, is part of why they lost the fucking war. So not highlighting that in this story, not putting an emphasis on that in this story, is a missed opportunity. With the type of writer he is, the story he could have told had he actually gave a fuck, in my opinion, and actually tried to tell a real story here.
He planned to
No, be quiet.
Okay.
I let you talk. Because for me, he didn't write it. This isn't a story. There's no beginning here. I've said it before, I'll say it again. This isn't a beginning, this isn't a middle, this isn't we got right after the middle of the story and then the end. That's what the whole film is. Right after the middle and here's the end. We're missing a chunk of this story. And arguably the most important part of the story, which was the very beginning with the Nazis not pursuing. Why didn't they pursue? Why didn't they? That bit of information, now obviously they don't know why. They have no idea why. We now know in history, we can go back and find out why they didn't pursue. The arrogance, the hubris of the general, like, we got this in the bag. I'm going to let the soldiers rest. That was his mindset, whoever the general was at the time. Cool. You could have showed us that. And then have the tension built that, yo, they think that we're about to get invaded. The tension built of, yo, we got to go. We got to figure something out. They keep destroying the ships. They keep attacking us. What's going on? What's going to happen next? That fear then, because they know this entire army that completely went through Poland and went through all of France and is continually pushing through, is here at our doorstep. We failed. We lost. And we're all about to get murdered. That tension, to me, is absent because we're missing this whole part of the storyline. We're getting here to here of the story. And to me, it's a... I don't want to say it's a joke, but it's a giant missed opportunity. What he could have done, given the writer that he is, given the director that he is, the story he could have told, he probably would have got the best director award that year had he actually tried to write a real story about this fucking war, about that part of the war, a part of the war that has never been told before in the cinema. You have people upset after watching it because they didn't learn anything from this. They didn't get anything from the film. People watch these films because they want to get new information about this war. You know what I'm saying? What was Dunkirk in its entirety? What was it? He completely missed the mark on it. And once again, I'm not mad at you because you wanted to try something new. No, I commend any creative who wants to try and deliver a different type of storytelling. I love that. That's beautiful. That's the only way the industry can grow and mature and change. But you could have done that with a completely new storyline. He could have tried this with something different and took inspiration off of Dunkirk. Dunkirk didn't have to be the one you risked it all for. But you decided to risk it on this story. But there was so much more story to tell here that we could have gotten that would have been so much better given his talents and what type of writer he is. Completely missed the mark, in my opinion. The tension, not there. Of course, they were nominated for score. It's Hans Zimmer. Looking at the production of how he created the song "The Mole." I don't know if you ever saw that.
I don't know.
It's astounding. The little song "The Mole," how I believe it was a synthesizer he used, where it's you constantly, your ears are playing a trick on you where you constantly think the sound is fading out, but it's also fading back in. It's an illusion that's being played on the ears. And you can find the video on YouTube.
I'll check it out.
It's genius the way he went about it. Like, Hans Zimmer is nasty. He's disgusting. He's the best at the craft. So it's like, of course they got nominated for that. Of course they got nominated for the visual effects. Nothing about the film looked bad. No, all the sets look great. The effects were great. The practical effects were great. Of course, it's a Christopher Nolan film. But writing wise, very poor decision making. 100% very poor. Like, that was definitely not his best work, and I wish he would have went with this experimental shit on something that was an original. I would much rather him try it on that front than on something that's of our literal history, where the knowledge that we could get from this film is important and people care about. And I feel like he just dropped the ball.
Okay, I see. I understand. But in a way, wouldn't you give this film another chance? Because I feel like this movie gets better on rewatch, just like his other films, like Inception, Interstellar.
Interstellar was phenomenal the first time I saw it.
Yeah, I know.
It was
But it gets
phenomenal the
better and
second
better.
time I saw it.
Yeah. His movies get better and better on rewatch. That's the way I see it.
Hold on.
What?
Hold on. Interstellar is phenomenal when you watch it the first time. It's phenomenal when you watch it the second time. It's phenomenal when you watch it the third time. For me, it doesn't get better because it already hit the pinnacle of it is excellence in sci-fi. It is excellence in sci-fi storytelling. It is excellence in every aspect of it the first time around and the second time around. I'm not necessarily sitting there and for me, I'm not sitting there watching Interstellar the third time and like, oh, I didn't catch that the first time. Oh, I didn't catch it the second time. I'm very much in tune with the film. Like, I'm catching it every other time. Because in my opinion, the writing for Interstellar isn't like an Inception where it's like every time you're going to watch this, you're going to catch something different that you may not have caught before.
I feel
Dunkirk is not that at all. I could set 3 fucking trash cans on fire 3 different days of the week, and we're still going to see the same thing over and over again. That's Dunkirk. It's a dumpster fire.
Damn, you're cold. But you're entitled to your own opinion, and I respect that. Like, I'm on the pro side, and you're on the anti side of Dunkirk. Con side, thank you. Like, in a way,
I mean,
I do get where you're going from.
I mean, some of the shit I said, I would argue wasn't necessarily an opinion based.
It's factual, is it?
Not everything. I mean, part of it, no, it's always my opinion, right? But I think objectively, I think
like, I understand the objective. It's not that good of a movie, but to me, I find it I think it's a good fucking movie.
I feel like it was missing elements of a story. Like I said, it's missing the beginning, and it's missing a true beginning, and then a true middle. Because it feels like we're getting the story right after that part.
But like I said before, he designed the film to be more of a fight for survival thriller, like a simulator, like we're in for the ride. You know what I mean? We're there for the ride until the very end. Like, that's the way I see Dunkirk. And I do understand where you're going from with story-wise, but I feel like the audience should look at it in a different perspective.
Audience is going to the movies to be entertained through storytelling. But are they not?
True, but they need to try something different.
Who said?
Everybody needs to try something different. That's just my perception.
I believe everyone should be open to experiences. Yeah. 100%. But the problem, I think, at that point that we come into with something like Dunkirk is if it's branding, or if it's being marketed to us as a generic, as not necessarily a generic, but an everyday war film.
But it's not supposed to be like.
But if it's being marketed like that,
what do you mean?
If it gets marketed when it was coming out, if it gets marketed as this is going to be the next big war film, like Saving Private Ryan, like the Hacksaw Ridges, like all the others that came before, All Quiet on the Western Fronts, if it's supposed to be a war film, like all those that came before it and those that came after, why would the audience expect to not have a story-driven narrative with characters that they can relate to or sympathize with? At that point, the film is no different in my eyes than something like a Longlegs, and the annals of Longlegs over here. That
Longlegs,
yeah, the horror film.
Yeah, I know.
It's as great as Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs is a traditional
crime thriller.
Exactly. Yeah, Longlegs is not that. Longlegs has literal, fucking what's the term? It's for the whole God, I can't remember. When you have the whole haunted possession nonsensical things going on.
Oh, demonic possession.
Like, it leans into that,
Yeah.
right? It leans into the occult and all that.
Yeah.
And very much into the fact that yes, in Longlegs there was a demon in the story,
Yeah. That was kind of off-putting.
right? Like, and off-put. We'll talk about Longlegs eventually.
Yeah.
But the problem with me is like Longlegs was marketed as a crime thriller.
Yeah.
Immaculate was marketed as a possession film.
Rosemary's Baby, inspired like Rosemary's Baby.
Right,
That's character driven.
right. So it's supposed to be a possession film, something like a Rosemary's Baby, like a Conjuring, something like that. That's what.
What I want to clarify is Rosemary's Baby wasn't an exorcism film. It's more of a character driven film. That's the clarity right there. It's not demonic possession in a way.
But from the trailer for Immaculate, though, one of the things I remember is when she's talking to the priest.
Yeah.
And the shit grabs her.
Mhm.
Like at that point, you're making the references to the Conjurings, though. You're making the references to the Insidiouses, though, where it's more of a haunting possession type of film. So you're building this expectation with the fans and the people watching, like, oh, this is what this is. Even though in the name it's literally immaculate. And what is immaculate in the Bible? The Immaculate Conception. Jesus was the Immaculate Conception. Okay. So it's like read between the lines a little bit, but nonetheless, for audiences, it's like if they're not going to read between the lines in the name, your marketing should reflect what this is, and the marketing does not. So for Immaculate,
for the money.
No, of course you're marketing it for the sake of the dollar value. So for Immaculate, it was what you sold us wasn't what we got.
Yeah.
For Longlegs, what you sold us was not what we got, and then for Dunkirk, once again, it's what you sold us is not what we received, and that's a problem.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? That is a problem right there.
I see.
So it's like, how can you expect audiences to be willing to try this if you're not conveying to them exactly what this is properly? Okay. That's a problem.
Okay.
And obviously, he has no control over how Warner Brothers decides to market.
But he was in full control of the film.
Yeah, of the film, but
most of his movies, he's in full control.
But when it comes to the marketing aspect of it, I don't know if he has that control. That's a different aspect. Marketing is a whole different conversation. That's typically studio driven, that's typically studio driven. Because they already have marketing plans set out of how we're going to market this film, whatever the case is. So I don't know if he had any influence on that. If he did, then shame on him because he marketed his own movie wrong. And at that point, I can't feel no sympathy if he did that because like you're just, I don't know what to say. Like that's just foolishness. Yeah. Then at that point, he sold us on something that he knew it wasn't, and it's bad. That's bad. Shame on you. Like really, fuck out of here.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. So, where to next?
I mean, you want to do closing arguments?
You want to go first?
I mean, ultimately, I just feel like the film, like I said, they tried selling us on something it wasn't, and then watching the film itself, it was just a giant missed opportunity for something that could have been so much greater. I would love to have seen him actually tell the story and see where it would have went. And I say where it would have went, like I don't know how it ends, but in terms of like how he would have handled the character development, how he would have handled the story progression, I would have loved to have seen that. Because then he would have had the ample time to properly build the tension of that whole scenario. You know what I'm saying? And then he could have did something real cool with literally he could have kept highlighting back and forth between the Nazi side and the Allied side, with the Nazis just chilling there like assholes, having tea and fucking crumpets, whatever they're doing there, resting. Like he could have highlighted that side of it as well. That would have been an entirely different perspective that we, you know what I'm saying, could have saw. And once again, with his writing acumen, like that would have been fucking incredible. Okay. I just see Dunkirk as a giant missed opportunity. I appreciate the fact that he tried to do something new, but I think he missed the mark entirely. And even with trying something new, I feel like he just missed. Okay. He completely struck out. Okay. Hans Zimmer did his thing. Hans Zimmer did his thing. Hans Zimmer is the best thing about the film.
Okay. Yeah, Hans Zimmer is Hans Zimmer. We should know that by now. So, all right. Well, for me, I still love Dunkirk just as much as I do, as I've seen numerous times. But I would say that Inception is his magnum opus in my opinion, and Dunkirk ranks beneath The Dark Knight in my ranking,
Mm.
but I love what he did, and I love what he did. I love what he did with something different. He did something different, and I love it. But
We have to commend any creator that does something different.
yeah, and I just love the film no matter what. And I understand your criticisms, and I understand what he could have done with the story and the characters. But deep down in my heart, I just love this film. I love it. Like, I've seen this movie more times than The Dark Knight. So that's all I have to say. But Inception and Oppenheimer is his best ones. There.
So what do you rank it?
Rank it.
Out of 5 stars?
I would give it a solid 4.5. You know, since you delved into it, since you kind of had me thinking about it, so I'm like, you know what? I might as well give it a 4.5 for now. So, what about you?
I give it 2 stars. And that's because the extra star literally is because of Hans Zimmer's score. Take Hans Zimmer's score out of it, it's a 1-star film for me.
So, you sure you're not gonna revisit the film?
No.
Well, I'm gonna revisit.
I'm sure I'll be punished to watch it when I'm in one of the 7 hells when I die. But until that, I cross that. Yeah, no.
Well, when it marks the 10-year anniversary, I'm going to IMAX.
I can't wait for 10 years to go by and you to have the same opinion of this as you have for Infinity War. I used to love it. Now, I just don't love it anymore. I realize now it's not that good. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Casual and the Cinephile. Let us know in the comments how you feel about this. How do you feel about Dunkirk? Did you like it? Do you feel like it lacked? Did you love it? Do you hate it? How do you feel about this in terms of Christopher Nolan's entire catalog? Let us know how you feel about the score by Hans Zimmer. Did you like that? Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Let us know in the comment section also what other movies you want us to talk about. Either in either in Christopher Nolan's discography or not. This has been The Casual and the Cinephile.